All right, y'all. So we are starting my podcast trilogy for the night, for the day. It's still night, but I guess you can call it morning. I associate morning with like blue skies and the moon is gone. Maybe the sun is out. But that's just me. That's just me. I should be asleep and it feel like I should be. But I got a lot I want to talk about and I don't want to wait to share it. I don't want to wait to talk about it. So I would like to talk about this crazy, like bitch. No, she's not that crazy. But my wife, my wife Dierra. Dierra Hughes, Mrs. Dierra Hughes. First of all, I want to say that, Dierra, I love you so much. Like, you should not be with me. I gave you every reason to not be with me. But you're still here. And I thank you. I really do, from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you on levels that you may not even know. But I'm not talking to you right now. I'm talking to the world or whoever listens to this podcast. So let me tell you guys a little bit about us, for one. Well, we grew up basically in the same neighborhoods. Yep, we grew up in the same neighborhoods. We didn't know each other. Like a couple blocks apart, we didn't know each other. We went to the same high school, the exact same high school. We did not know each other. We didn't actually meet until we were both grown. And she started to work while I was working. One thing about me is that I don't like trying to talk to someone when everybody else is pursuing them. So she had everybody on her heels. Like everybody, for real, everybody was. I mean, like, people would ask me about her. And it wasn't like we were having conversations or anything, but, people would ask me if I talked to her or what kind of person she is or, things like that. And then people would tell me how they want to talk to her and how they want to take her out and, all this stuff. So I didn't pursue her, I remember one day we were at work and it was overtime. So neither one of us should have been there. And we were having a conversation. We were coming back from lunch. We was going back to our department. Her department was before mine. And then me going to my department, we come out of a door, we make a left turn, and then her department was immediate right turn. And then mine will be upcoming left turn. So we're talking, and I didn't notice that she kept walking past her department. And I turned and made my left and walked to my department. Now, if you ask me, she was going to the vending machines. And I'm pretty sure she was. But when I thought about it, it's like, oh shit. She kept going to talk to me and I completely just made a left turn on her. And, it wasn't that I wasn't interested. She was this pretty little light-skinned black girl with, she was, she's pretty. She's gorgeous, But I wasn't thinking about her that way because, she was getting all the attention from, a lot of people. Probably every dude in there wanted to take her out. One of them was a friend of mine. Well, I thought he was a friend of mine. Made that mistake a lot of times in life. But that's not for this. But, yeah, one day, a friend of ours, her name is Yolanda, may she rest in peace. She asked me if I had a girlfriend. And I told her, I'm like, yeah, I got a girlfriend. And she was like, oh, that sucks. Because Dierra want to talk to you. I was like, oh, she do. Like, she do, huh? So, it kind of hit my, ego or whatever. And that was, the first reason. That was the first chance or the first thing I did that should have sent her, packing and running away. Because I did have a girlfriend, and I waited a while. And I started talking to Dierra. I did. I started talking to Dierra with a girlfriend already. And, neither one of them deserved that. But we started talking, started hanging out. I used to drive for hours with no destination. On a Friday night when we had just gotten off work, and I would just drive until she said she was ready to go home. And sometimes she'd be asleep, I'd still be driving. But I used to like to drive, and I like spending that time with her. Unfortunately, I was also very selfish in a way that she never deserved. When we first got together, I was not faithful. I wasn't. And she deserved to be with somebody that would have been faithful. There's no better choice than me, but I'm pretty sure somebody could have treated her better than I did. She went through a lot with me, and she's also stuck by me through a lot. And I was never a good boyfriend. I was never a good boyfriend. I wasn't. We've been together for 17 years, and more than maybe half. Wait, let me do some math real quick. Give me a second. I'll be right back. 17. Yeah. Yep. It was more than half. 17 years. Jamal was it? Yes. Wow. 17 years. That's crazy. But I wasn't always a good person to her, And once we moved in together, I didn't realize what I had. I've never realized what I've had with anyone, because all I saw was Dante, what Dante wanted to do, and could nobody say nothing about that. She was the only person that really challenged me. If I had something to do on a Saturday, it didn't matter if I tell her I had something to do or not. She always asks, well, what you doing? And where I can't go. Or who I'm going to be with. She was, or she is, a CIA agent. She could find out anything, and she's really good at reading people, I guess. You know, I could be lying and she knew I was lying before I even said something. You know, I never really deserved her. I was always good with taking care of my family, like financially or like being supportive. But I was missing that faithful aspect of it, which is huge. That is such a big key in a relationship, you know, and I was missing that for a really long time. One thing I can say about both of us is that no matter what was going on, if one of us needed the other, we were right there. We were always right there. That's something that I appreciate about her. She has been with me through a lot of changes, a lot of struggles, some of my worst times. You know, she has seen every part of me, inside and out. She's seen me lose my temper. You know, she's seen me be really nice. So I used to go outside, like it might be a Saturday and we're drinking. I would go outside and be smoking like a cigarette. And I would come in the house with somebody that none of us know. Just to have a shot. You know, I would bring strangers into the house. And she hated it. You know, and I understand why, you know, and I get it. But it's so funny right now. Because I could just see the look on her face when that other person walked in the door behind me. And she's like, what the hell? But she wouldn't say anything. You know, we continue on the night, and then the next day, I would hear it. I would hear it like, yeah. I can't blame her for being upset. Anybody probably would. And that's just a part of like who I am. I'm so welcoming. And, you know, you're not allowed to have fun by yourself or sit there and look like a lost puppy. Come in and take a shot or have a beer or something. You know, I've gotten away from that. I've gotten away from it. But it's pissed my wife off a lot. And that's another thing. You know, she sometimes, well, most of the time, almost all the time, accepts my kindness to others because she knows that's a part of who I am. But I've always been told by a lot of people that I'm too nice, you know. And one thing I was talking about, I think it was at trivia on Sunday, that like serial killers and those type of people are all really nice and really charming. And yeah, that's me. Except the serial killer part, I'm not. But my wife, you know, she's amazing. She, when my grandmother got sick with cancer, you know, I was afraid. I was like deathly afraid of the inevitable outcome. And my grandmother fought hard. She fought very hard. But my wife was the only person that I had at 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning that would get up and talk to me. And this wasn't at the beginning, like I was already a bad person to her. But she would get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would drive from the west side of Chicago to the south side of Chicago, so we can drive a few blocks and she could listen to my problems. Yep, that's my wife. That is what she's done for me. We was at work one time and I got a phone call saying that my Uncle Henry was in the hospital. And I can't remember if they said he had a stroke or he had a heart attack. But one thing people know about me is that I love my family unconditionally. I love my family. So I was working in Skokie, Illinois, which was about maybe 30, 35 minutes away from where I needed to go. And we were on lunch when I got the news. So I dropped her off at work and I peeled out of the parking lot. Before I can get out of that parking lot, she called me and told me to calm down. You know, she told me to relax. You know, she told me that I needed to get where I was going. In order to get there, I had to calm down in order to get to the hospital. You know, I didn't want my emotions to take over and me possibly end in a hospital bed next to Uncle Henry. That would have been awful. But she has been that person for a long time, you know, and no one's perfect, you know, but she's perfect for me. And she always has been. And I appreciate her for that. You know, when we first moved to Minnesota, I didn't want to be here. And it was my fault that we were here. You know, we had another option. And we chose Minnesota because my older sister lived there. And it was probably the worst situation I've ever put myself or anybody else in. You know, we ended up here for maybe a week. And, you know, things happened in my sister's house. And then we moved. And something else happened at that house, the day we were moving in. The next day, we ended up in a shelter. You know, and the shelter had rules. You know, the shelter had things you could and could not do. So that was an excuse for me. So I was the biggest coward. And I left my family and went back to Chicago. You know, and she did everything that she could to get out of that shelter and into an apartment. Now, I didn't want to be here the first year or two that we were here. So, you know, I would come back and then I would leave her and the kids again. I was an awful person to her and the kids. You know, that's not something that she had ever seen before. And especially not something that she had to be involved in and experiencing for herself. You know, but she shouldn't have let me come back. And she did. She let me come back a lot. And I would go back to Chicago and do things I had no business doing. You know, and I felt like it was a benefit to it. And it wasn't. When there's so much risk in some things that you do, there's no such thing as a benefit. You know? There's no such thing as a benefit. But she has never left my side. She has always been there. Always. Well, until she had one boyfriend when we broke up. She had one boyfriend and she didn't want to get back with me, so we were split up for a year and a half, 2 years maybe. Yeah. She had this little chump. That's not funny because there's another story in there that makes me appreciate her so much. But she ain't want to like get back together with me, and I was trying for a while. I was trying to get back with her, and we lived in the same house, and like we didn't do anything. We would like get drunk and still like have fun with friends and family, but yeah, we wasn't together. We didn't act like we were together. We didn't do things like we were together. Well, I guess living with each other was almost being together. She just wouldn't say yes. Damn it. But this is one of the best things that I love about her. I absolutely adore her for this, because I don't know how many women would have accepted this, and if the shoe was on the other foot, I don't know if I would have been, and I don't know any man that would have been able to accept it either. So during our breakup, she had a boyfriend, I had a girlfriend, and I got my girlfriend pregnant, and that situation did not work out. And it had nothing to do with Dierra or me cheating on her or anything. I would literally come see the kids like for a weekend, and, I would leave. But I would come back because, my kids are here. And I was a better man than I just previously spoke about. I was a better person at that point. But I got this girl pregnant, and my daughter's 9 years old now. And when Nicole had Nevaeh, which is the mother, Nicole, and my daughter's Nevaeh, when she had Nevaeh, me and Dierra, we still weren't together, but you can already tell that she was hurt that I had gotten another woman pregnant, and at first I defended it by saying that we wasn't together, that it shouldn't bother her, but when you look at it and you put yourself in someone else's shoes, and especially when you know how much they love you and you love that person, how much you love them, it's easy to put yourself in their shoes. So I felt not exactly what she was going through, not her pain, but I could feel that hurt coming from her. And when we would go to see Nevaeh, we used to get into an argument because I wanted Nevaeh with me all the time when I was at my mother's house. And if she was going to her mother's house, she wanted Nevaeh to go with them. Even though the situation hurt her, she still wanted to be a part of Nevaeh's life. She still loved Nevaeh. She loved Nevaeh. How can you not appreciate that? And it didn't happen. It happened maybe 2 or 3 times. So this whole situation about my daughter and my wife, God, I'm so blessed to have my wife. I am so blessed that she is still here 17 years later. She's a good fucking woman. Like, she's fucking awesome. Like, she's great. I don't know how you describe perfection. I don't even know if there's words besides perfection that describes perfection. You know what I mean? Like, she is perfection. She works hard. All year long, she's been working 6 days. And I'll get back to that in a minute, but I'm going to finish the story about uh, our situation with my daughter. So we used to see her all the time up until she was 2. And then once she hit 2, for some reason, we stopped seeing her. Now, one thing you got to know about me is that I love my kids no matter what. I love them. So when I would tell her, Nicole, Nevaeh's mom, that we're coming to Chicago, everything's fine. It's a plan and everything to see Nevaeh, pick her up, and to bring her back before we left, which was fine. That was good. That was what I needed. And then excuses start to come. And then after a while, there would be no answer. No answer from a text. No answer from a call. Nothing. And I would get a text or a call if money was needed. And I've sent money regularly, And that would be the only time I hear from her. And I would send money like out of the blue for no reason at all at a weird time just to see if I'll get a response. And I would always get a response, So my wife saw how bad that hurt me, how deep that hurt me. She spent nights with me crying tears about me not seeing my daughter. I was so hurt by this. I don't think that this is a pain that anyone should feel. I went through this for 7 years. 7 years. My wife went through this for 7 years. My kids went through this for 7 years. And I don't see how someone is okay with that. So we saw Nevaeh for the first time in 7 years this past August. And that was one of the best days of my life. One of the best days in my life. And my wife has supported me, held me, wiped my tears, tried to push me in a direction to get advice, to see what it is that I can do, what I can't do. Yeah, she was there every step of the way. Every step of the way. My daughter didn't see me get married. She didn't see a lot of things that she was supposed to see within those 7 years. She missed out on a lot of us, and we missed out on a lot of her. One thing that I was grateful for was that she told me, I know you love me, and I knew one day that you was going to come find me. I never needed to find her. I just needed to know where they were at that moment so I can go get her. I never stopped trying. For 7 years, I never stopped trying. And if you know me, you'll know that no matter what I'm doing, I always feel like I can do better. I should do better. So that's how I feel. I feel like I could have done more. But in reality, this wasn't on me. Those 7 years was not on me. And, for a minute, I talked to a lawyer and mad dads. And, everybody was telling me that I would need to be in Chicago to fight for custody of Nevaeh. And I didn't want full custody. I just wanted to see my daughter, I didn't really want custody. I mean, I would take it, no problem. I would love it if she lived here with us. I would. But I just wanted to see my daughter. I wanted my kids to see my daughter. I wanted my wife to see my daughter. Well, I wanted the kids to see their sister. And I wanted her to see her sisters and brothers. You know, it's a whole family experience that we missed out on. And my wife took care of me those 7 years, you know. She let me cry. She let me vent. She held me when I cried. She talked to me while I was venting. Or if I just needed her to be in, she was just in there. But she was everything that I needed her to be. And I appreciate that so much. Because I didn't know how I was going to get through that alone if I had to. You know, my life was not right. Something was missing, or someone was missing. But my life was not right. It wasn't right. My wife has been everything that I've needed her to be. And for a long time, I never returned that favor. I never gave her that gift back. This year, in July, I fell off a telephone pole. You know, and at first I was saying, like, yeah, about 20 feet. I fell about 20 feet. But the way that I fell, you know, my manager had come and talked to me, and he asked me, like, do you know how far you fell? And I was like, yeah, I fell about 20 feet. He was like, well, the other side, where your ladder was at, is about 20 feet. The other side is a decline in land. He's like, so your fall is about 30, 35 feet. I was like, wow, man, that's cool. You know, I didn't think about it how everybody else thought about it. I didn't see it how everybody else saw it. You know, because to me it was just a fall. You know, like I fell off a bike or something. And that didn't turn out to be the case at all. That didn't turn out to be the case at all. Like, that was not the case. So, when I fell off this pole, you know, the safety guy came, was there first, and he's also a friend of ours, Ken. Ken was worried because nobody knew what type of shape I was in, and nobody expected me to just break a wrist falling from 30 feet. So you could see the look on his face once he comes through the door. And it's this look of worry, you know, it's this look of scaredness, of being afraid, you know, you could just see it. Is that look of not knowing what the hell you're walking into. And that was the look everybody had when they came through those doors. But my wife and my twins, I have 15-year-old twin girls, Dania and Denaya. They crazy as hell too. But the look on their faces was not another look that I would ever want to remember or see on their faces again. And, you know, I guess it's kind of a sad part that I see my doctor on Monday, and most likely I'll be back to work on Wednesday at that same job. You know? But that was a look I never wanted to see on anyone's face, and especially not my wife and kids. You know, I don't want anybody having that trauma of what they could have seen when they came through there. And, you know, they had that look. They were scared. They was terrified. And now I'm going back to that same job, you know. There was nothing I could do to prevent my fall. Absolutely nothing. So a little bit about that. We changed cables on a pole, and there's a strand that connects two poles together, and that strand is supposed to be able to hold 2 tons. So I'm about, well, at the time I was about 215, 220, or no, I wasn't. I was about 205 or 210, and that strand broke, and I fell. The bad part about it, I was almost done. I was so close to being done with that. So I got up there, I got the old cable down, hooked the new cable up, was getting ready to tie it to the strand and tie it to the pole so that it's nice and not just dangling. As soon as I was getting ready to put that zip tie on, I heard "Pah!" Once I heard that, I didn't know what it was. I just knew I was going down. And the fall was really quick. It was really quick. But I didn't lose consciousness. And there was a transformer up above me. So there's power, cable, and then phone. So I thought the transformer was coming down. So I jumped up and was getting ready to move. I looked up, the transformer's still there. So at this moment, I'm not sure what happened, but I checked myself and my wrist is sitting off to the side. Yeah, it's messed up. But I had surgery that night, and, I sent my wife a text because I was in so much pain I couldn't talk to her, really. So I told her that, I fell off a pole, I'm okay. Boom, that was it. Dumbass text, that was stupid. I could have gave her some more information, especially like my left hand was working fine. My right hand was working fine. Oh, I'm a lefty, and I broke my left hand. Yes, so... yeah, fun stuff. But I had my surgery that day, and, I came home. So I broke my left wrist. It's a plate in there. Just had surgery. Can't do anything with it for about, I think it was like 36 hours before I even started to get feeling back. And I wouldn't allow her to help me with the most simple things that I know I needed help with. I know I needed help. And one day, not even one day, I think it was either the first or the second day, she told me, it's okay to let me help you because you can't do it. It's like, that's what I needed to hear, but I didn't want to fucking hear it. I didn't want to hear it because I didn't want to realize that my life was about to change for a few months. My whole life was about to change for a few months. And it did. So maybe I'll come back and speak to that as well. Maybe I'll do 4 podcasts this morning. I have so much on my mind. And, I want to talk about it. So we'll see how I feel after this one. And we'll see. We'll see. But I am tired. I am. But I wanted to get this one out about my wife. She is my gravity. She keeps me centered most of the time. She pissed me off a lot. She's so damn stubborn. But we both are, and if that's what I got to deal with to have her, so be it, I love this woman. Like, I've never felt love like this to any other woman ever. As far as like relationships. To me, she is so close to my mother and my grandmother and my aunts. That's how I see her. The only reason she's not at that level is because that's my mom. Those my aunts. That's my grandmother. She's my wife. So there's a difference. It's a different level, It could be kind of creepy if I put all of them on the same level. But her strength, like I've watched her grow tremendously, like take strides and grow. Like, it's unbelievable. And I know she deal with things, but I also know that she's a different type of person than I am. You know, I would rather talk, and she see no value in talking. But I could see there's something in her that she needs to get out. And it kills me to not be annoying and just constantly pick at her, to try to see if it'll come out. What I have learned is that it's not up to me to decide when that comes out. Hell, sometimes it's not up to her. It comes out when it does. And most of the time it's not to me. But that's okay because she gets it out. I just want her to get it out more. It's cleansing to put things out in the open. It helps to vocally speak something into the atmosphere so you can start healing, so you can start dealing with whatever it is you're going through. But that's how I deal with things. And I got to stop trying to put that on her to make her deal with things. Just because it works for me doesn't mean it'll work for someone else. But yeah, I can see there's something. And I know what it have to deal with, but yeah, until I get we've had conversations about it. It's not like I'm completely in the dark. But I don't know if she would be okay with me telling the whole world, some of the things that she go through. And there's nothing that no one can help her on. There's nothing none of us can help her with, So all I want to do is be the person to her that she's always been for me. I just want to be there for her. If she cries, I want to comfort her. If she's sad, I want to make her smile. If today feel like it's her last day, I want to be the person to make her feel like there's always another day. It's crazy because I never, ever, not ever, but 15 years ago, I wouldn't have thought that this would be the place I was at. Well, yeah, all of this, in Chaska, married, I wouldn't have thought that was a part of my life ever. But here I am, in a place that I would never expect it to be. I'm glad I'm here. I am so glad I'm here. But I would have never thought that I would be here. I am blessed that God put her with me to deal with me for her to be here today. Because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be married. Really, I wouldn't be married. I pursued marriage with her. We got back together and was together for a little while, and I still wasn't a good person. And I was the one, it's oh, yeah, let's get married on Valentine's Day. That was the last time we got engaged. We got engaged 3 times. And the last one was on Valentine's Day. And we got married on Valentine's Day. And I pursued that day. But we'll also get remarried at 10 years. And that day will be June 17th, which is her dad's birthday, who is no longer here. Rest in peace, Mickey. Mr. Nowden, rest in peace. Your daughter misses you and she loves you. And I'm sure you already know it. But yeah, my wife is awesome. We are alike in a lot of ways. We don't turn our back on people. We help when we can. Even when we can't, We've opened our doors to so many people, and a lot of people didn't appreciate it. But even after that, we opened our doors again. We've been through things that put strains on our relationship. And this last situation with me falling off the pole, I had an anxiety attack one day, and it wasn't the first one, but it was the first one she saw. And my heart was racing, my body was shaking, my breathing was out of control. I couldn't control it, but I could barely talk. So it scared the shit out of her that she could not see or understand or have me even tell her what was going on. So I had to speak in bits and pieces, and that anxiety attack lasted about maybe 30 or 40 minutes, and it scared the crap out of her. She didn't know. To her, it looked like I was dying. And it scared her. I would have been scared too. But the ones before, she had never seen. She had never seen those. This was the first time that she had seen it. She stayed right there with me. Like, she didn't go get a glass of water. I wouldn't have been able to drink it. But she didn't waste time going to try to do things that I didn't need or she wasn't sure about. She stayed right there the whole time, scared as shit, like worried about what was going on with me. Who has a wife like that? Leave me comments on any of my podcasts, any of them. I want your comments. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear how you feel. I want to hear if I can help. But yeah, this is for you, Dierra Hughes, previously known as Dierra Cousins. I love you, girl. I do, with all my heart, with everything in me. I appreciate and I thank you for being here every step of the way, even when you shouldn't have been, even when you didn't want to be. One thing I always pray for, and I thank God for him never turning his back on us. And I thank you for the same thing all the time. I love you. I'm so glad you're my wife, no matter what we go through. I'm so glad you are my wife and I'm your husband. I hope you're having an awesome day at work tonight, because this might embarrass the crap out of you. I don't care. I just need to tell people how I feel about you. So if anybody's listening, appreciate your wife, appreciate your husband, appreciate what you've gone through. Let all that make you better. Anything bad, if you're together right now, let that stuff make you better. It won't always be perfect, but it's worth fighting for. Have a good night, and I'll be talking with you another time.